What's going on, people? Today I'm going to be reading the updated Doctor Who Claremont backstory. Yeah, so in the future, when the story is fully implemented in-game, this will be read by our 11th Doctor voice actor, but since this isn't final, I didn't want them to record this, as he would just have to re-record it anyways when it's ready. Let's get started. Deep breath. Intro. The 11th Doctor monologue. Oh, hi, hello, howdy. Right, yes, my name is the Doctor, and I'm going to tell you a story. I am a time traveler with a title for a name. My species, the Time Lords, are from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Castabris. I am 2100 years old and on my 11th face. Well, technically 12th, but this story is not about that. I have a screwdriver that is sonic, which can do all sorts of things almost like magic. My spaceship/time travel machine is called the TARDIS. It stands for Time in Relative Dimensions in Space, but I like to call her sexy. She is bigger on the inside and is as live as you or I. It can disguise itself based on its surroundings. However, after landing in London in 1963 with my granddaughter Susan, it got stuck as a blue police box. I'll eventually get around to fixing that. I wander around the universe with a companion, saving planets and the civilization that inhabits them. Some people call me a hero, some people call me a warrior with blood-soaked hands. Now imagine you are me. Imagine you are the Doctor and the fate of an entire planet, no, an entire universe rested on your shoulders. Put yourself into my shoes. I've lived a long old life. I've seen a few things in my time. I've saved all of Gallifrey from the clutches of the Daleks. I was there at the creation of the Earth, and I have lost people I care about. I witnessed my own gravesite. Throughout all of my life, in all my adventures, there is a path that leads me to a point when things must change. I am the Doctor, and this is the story of how I died. It's a bit dramatic, don't you think? Scene 1. Time rains down. Damaged by an unknown disease that affects human particles, the life force of the TARDIS, the ancient police box, has been hurled out of the time vortex. In an unstable spiral, the ship begins hurtling towards a nearby planet at an increasing velocity. Inside the console room, sparks are flying everywhere. The TARDIS is shaking uncontrollably, and you struggle to find your footing. Gold flames break out all across the cool-colored metallic room, and the sound of the alarms begin to sharply pierce your ears. The cloister bell chimes throughout the entire TARDIS, almost as if the TARDIS were begging for your help, and you realize that the TARDIS is about to crash. Making a desperate attempt to stop the ship from plummeting into the surface of the planet, you frantically try to make it to the console. However, you are knocked down by the ship hitting the planet's atmosphere. Among the chaos, steering through the thick black smoke and shielding your eyes from the sparks of electricity, you see a monitor that has not been destroyed from one of the many power surges. A horrified look comes over your face. Scrolling symbols of round Gallifreyan text whiz past each other, carrying with them a warning of a Huon particle containment failure. The TARDIS shakes violently and the screen erupts, sending shards of glass everywhere, and the last remaining of hope of saving the TARDIS dies. You are forced with no options and nothing more you can do to try to save the TARDIS before she hits the face of the planet. Once the most powerful vessel in the universe, the TARDIS has been brought to its knees, and you have no other option but to evacuate. For over 1,000 years, you have traveled throughout all of time and space with the TARDIS. You fought in the last Great Time War, and when the dust settled, you were the sole remaining Time Lord, and she was the last TARDIS in the universe. She was there for you the whole time, and now you are just going to abandon your home when it needs you the most. You try to rationalize it by saying you can fix whatever damage occurs if she survives the crash. Time is running out, and the ship violently finishes atmospheric re-entry. You make a mad dash for the console again. Compressed air in the form of high-pressure steam begins to leak out of the ventilation system. Using the sonic screwdriver to dissipate the vapor ahead of you, you manage to reach the console. With a pull of the wibbly lever and a wave of the sonic, you engage the transmat teleport beam system. The ship flips upside down and you get thrusted into the cold metal wall. An explosion deep in the bowels of the dimensionally transcendental ship has caused another power surge to happen when the transmat system engaged. Your only way off the crashing ship had literally just been blown to pieces. You run towards the burning doors and carefully open them. Taking one last look back into the room, you hear the console wheezing as if the thick black smoke caused by the fires and blazing sparks were snuffing the life out of the ship. All that was left to do was say your catchphrase, Geronimo, and you were out the doors. Everything fades to darkness. As the erratically flying TARDIS begins to hurtle towards a mountain, the TARDIS is engulfed in a blue flame. The TARDIS flight normalizes for a brief few seconds. As the police box begins to fly away in a different direction, another, still engulfed in flames, continues its collision course with the planet. As you awake, your vision is blurry and you cannot seem to walk in a straight line. Your hands emit a bright gold luminescent glow that begins to slowly fade. You suddenly realize you had just regenerated. The Time Lord process of cheating death by changing every cell in the body right before death. Regeneration is like a lottery. The process is a bit dodgy. You never know what you're going to get. You could get 2 heads or no head. Imagine that. You with no head. Time Lords have no ability to control their next regenerations, unlike Time Ladies. So it's like a mixed bag. You frantically begin to check your body for any missing parts, as you have done 11 times previous. Everything was there: legs, arms, 2 eyes, nose, eyebrows, blimey. Just as you thought you had gotten out, you realize something is missing. Something important. You lost your bow tie. As your vision begins to return to normal, you see a long trail of black smoke in the far distance. In the mountain range among the smoke, you see great beams of light radiating out in multiple directions from a central point. This could be only one thing. The TARDIS had crashed. After 2 days of trekking through a desert, a jungle, a swamp, and now snow-covered mountains, you have finally gotten close to the TARDIS, or what is left of her. By midday, you reach the location of the crash and find a large crater with the TARDIS cemented into the very center of it, laying on its side. The beams of light you had previously seen were being emitted by the open doors of the TARDIS. Outside of the TARDIS, a large swarm of huon particles amass around the location of the crash, making it hard to see through. Clumsily fumbling your way down the mountain, you reach the doors of your ship and climb through the ajar doors. Once inside, you see the devastation before you and cannot help but let out a gasp. Piping hang from the ceiling. Large explosions had blown the whole walls apart. The console room had become a gruesome mashup of the last 3 designs used by the desktop system. Clearly a glitch must have happened during the final moments of the crash. Oh, and around things on the wall, still no idea what they are. The once great console room was now reduced to fallen support beams, and parts of the ceiling lay on the floor. As you leave the console room to begin exploring the ruins of the TARDIS, you find something you were not expecting to find. A trusty old robot dog named Canine, severely damaged but repairable. You pick up the retro-looking tin dog and carry him with you on the journey to explore the wreckage. After about an hour of aimless searching, you become incredibly frustrated and nearly out of breath. The air in the TARDIS was either stale or so filled with ash and smoke that even the lung capacity of a Time Lord would eventually give out. The TARDIS hallways must have been rearranged during the crash due to the malfunctioning architectural reconfiguration system. Basically, the interior of the TARDIS rearranged itself to become a labyrinth. After stumbling around again for what seemed like an eternity, you finally found a room that had been left intact after numerous explosions rocked the interior. Still warm from the fires, you push open the sliding doors and jimmy through the small opening you had created, dragging Canine in with you. Once inside, you fall on your back and take a deep breath and let out a sigh of relief. Finally, some clean oxygen. Without even taking a moment to enjoy the ability to breathe easily, you quickly get yourself off the dusty, char-covered floor and run over to the nearest wall. After taking off the hexagonal wall panel and reveal a large jumbled mess of tangled wires and cords connected to a small dark screen. Like a phantom limb, you begin to reach into your jacket pocket for your sonic screwdriver. You remember that you lost your jacket and bow tie during the fall. That is the thing with regeneration. The memory gets all jumbled and you barely have an idea of who you are at first. Sure, you have the lives of many past incarnations rattling about deep in your brain, but when you regenerate, those personalities are suppressed and a new one emerges. One incarnation, you can be a savior of worlds with the fresh guilt and shame of destroying your entire species on your shoulders, and then the next you can be a nutty loon wearing tweed jackets, bow ties, and an affinity for the most outrageous hats, including a fez. So when it comes down to it, after having every cell in your body rewritten and your mind scrambled, you do not really pay attention to things like a missing jacket or even what you used to look like. Racking your brain for ways to restore power to the emergency display unit inside of the wall, you really wish that one of your past traveling companions were with some snarky human comment that would spark a moment of genius in you. This is why you need a companion. Even the experiences and the expertise of a Time Lord cannot compete with the fresh eyes of a human seeing the wonders of the universe for the first time. They provide a unique perspective to your life that you had lost long ago after hundreds and hundreds of years of police box travel. When your backyard is all of time and space, you tend to become jaded and oblivious to the most simple solutions. A solution that would have clobbered you over the head with a cricket bat had you been any more unoriginal. Not believing how thick you had become, you yell out with a simple exclamation of K9. Running halfway across the room, sliding onto the ground, and at the door you grab the robot dog and roll him across the dirty floor towards the wall panel. Without the sonic screwdriver, you will have to make do with the systems on board your chess partner / advanced artificial intelligence from the year 5000. Using brute force and hot-wiring the old tin dog was not something you were fond of, but if it were to help you restore life to the TARDIS, then it had to be done. Tripping K9's backup program subroutines, the old rust bucket springs back to life and instantly recognizes you and calls you by his famous catchphrase of Master. After explaining the situation to K9, being the good sentient AI dog that he is, he agreed to connect to the TARDIS and transfer power from his backup systems to the monitor. Once the monitor was up and running, you had discovered an amazing feat done by the TARDIS Matrix, the soul of the TARDIS. Reading several logs created during the crash that were still intact, it soon became clear exactly what the ship had done. In a desperate attempt to preserve herself in the knowledge of the Time Lords, the TARDIS had initiated a transmat of the TARDIS memory crystal database to a safe location. She had used the last of her power reserves to teleport the repository of Gallifreyan knowledge off the ship at exactly the same time you had tried to evacuate. The two requests taxed out the system and caused a massive overload to occur in the Eye of Harmony, an exploding star captured right before the turning into a black hole and contained in the deepest ends of the TARDIS interior. The explosion of the eye must have caused all the remaining TARDIS systems to light up like a Christmas tree on your way out of the TARDIS. However, even with the heroic actions of the TARDIS, a tragic result had occurred from these events. The resulting power surge from the Eye of Harmony destruction had destabilized the ongoing teleport of the memory matrix crystals. A transmat that has been interrupted can have disastrous effects when transporting something as sensitive as Time Lord data storage technology. This could be nothing but bad news. As a result of the interrupted transmat, the memory matrix crystals had been scattered throughout to all of time and space, forever to be lost. But this was not the only outcome of the failed transmat. Time Lord technology is bigger on the inside, whether it be ships like the TARDIS or paintings. The Time Lords depended on bending the laws of time and physics to their will. The TARDIS interior exists in a separate dimension than the exterior. Paintings freeze a moment of time in a frame, and data storage, well, Time Lords created simulations into each crystal. For every crystal about a species existed a virtual reality in which those civilizations lived. It was the ultimate anthropological tool to gain a complete resource of information based on a civilization by actually creating a duplicate world contained in a bigger on the inside crystal that feeds all the information gathered into the TARDIS computers. Running out of the room, leaving K9 in the TARDIS wall panel behind you, you retrace your steps taken to the destroyed console room. Reaching for the burnt wooden doors and opening them would reveal your greatest fears. All of your worst enemies. Every race you ever fought and defeated. Every single last one of them had been transported out of their crystals and onto this planet. You must now set on your greatest journey. This will be your most taxing trial. You must make repairs to the TARDIS in order to get her to fly again. You must explore all of time and space to every planet suspected of being the location of a memory matrix crystal and recover them. But you must do this quickly. The fate of this planet rests on your ability to repair the TARDIS and restore her memory database in order to trap all the escaped species back where they belong. You are the Doctor. You are the guardian of the universe, the one who made a promise to never give up and to never be cruel or cowardly. You are the only hope for this planet, and you must save it. for it holds the key to finding your lost homeworld and the cure to the disease that caused this chaos.